called the Internet of Things. It's a database where every device that's linked to the internet or Wi-Fi can communicate within each other. Refrigerators, washing machines, microwave, anything that has a signal that goes out to Wi-Fi is connected. The Internet of Things enables smart objects to communicate with each other and perform tasks autonomously. Applications ranging from smart homes to wearables to smart cities. So when you have a thought, open your phone and start scrolling, and all of a sudden, there's what you were thinking about. It's not just your phone, it's all the devices together to essentially read your mind. Now let me ask you this. Every memory that you've ever had growing up, are you sure it's yours?
People who have been through traumatic experiences like natural disasters, fires, or wars tend to suffer from long-term psychological issues. Now, researchers think they found a way to potentially delete bad memories and enhance good ones. Park Se-young.
Reconstructing your memories is a very real thing. It's being developed under the grounds of PTSD victims to help them forget about traumatic experiences. Synthetic human memories. And even though right now they say they can only do it in rats and small mammals, we all know how that goes. Now, we already talked about microscopic nanotechnology, ways to get AI and robots inside the human body with things like smart dust. Even FDA approved digital tracking devices in prescription medicine.
Researchers at MIT, Harvard Medical School, and Brigham and Women's Hospital have recently invented a technology to wirelessly power up tiny devices like this one, deep inside the human body.
Even AI-driven robots that they can inject inside of you.
Robots into a human's bloodstream sounds terrifying. But what if I told you science has developed so far that they are actually doing it on purpose? Nanobots in medicine represent a new technology that could save millions of lives. They are the size of antibodies, smaller even than our blood cells.
But the hard truth is, if you're watching this, you are already a part of a database without any of those things. You, me, pretty much everyone in this world is already a part of a thing called the Internet of Bodies.
This collection of all these devices, as well as all the data that the devices are gathering about you.
Your Apple Watches, your Fitbits, even the little rings that they use to scroll through TikTok, they're all a part of this. It's the reason why all these big tech companies want your data. They say it's to help navigate the internet and to heighten our online experiences. But I want you to pay attention to what this woman says at the end of this clip.
The Internet of Bodies, or IOB, is actually an ecosystem. It's a bunch of devices that are connected to the internet that contain software and that either collect personal health data about you or can alter the body's function.
Alter the body's function. Now, don't get me wrong, this could all have huge benefits for humankind, like controlling your iPhone with your brain, but don't forget this can go both ways. Y'all stay safe.
I feel like we're getting closer and closer to figuring out just what type of data they're collecting on us and exactly what they intend to use it for. Digging into this concept of the Internet of Bodies, it's pretty much exactly what it sounds like. They're monitoring everything from your smartwatch to a medical implant like a pacemaker or an insulin pump. And like all technology that we're rightly suspicious of, they market it as if it's there to help you. They say they can monitor you in real time and alert a medical professional if your heart rate spikes, or if your blood sugar goes through the roof all of a sudden unexpectedly, they can adjust your insulin pump in real time. I'm sorry, but I don't trust most doctors as it is. I certainly don't want them to have the ability to adjust one of my medical implants from the other side of town whenever they get a notification on their cell phone. This just sounds like an opportunity for them to end someone's life with zero accountability. They'll be able to pump you full of insulin when you don't need it and just blame it on a bad reading from your device. And you won't even know what's going on. I think that does it. I'm not going to the hospital anymore unless I lose an arm or something.
Look, I'm a father, and this right here scares me half to death. Send this to somebody else. Send it to everybody you can. Everybody needs to watch this video.
All right, guys, we're gonna try to make this into 3 minutes. Yesterday, don't mind my face. This is all from stress. Yesterday, a lot of you know I have a 15-year-old daughter. I got a call from Apache Junction Police Department about 5:30 in the morning, letting me know that they were at my mom's house, that Lily had ran away in the middle of the night. She had stole her debit card and her phone. Within an hour, we had put Lily into the database, the national database, and they were tracking my mom's phone. They tracked my mom's phone about 7:15 in the morning in Douglas, Arizona. We live in Apache Junction, Arizona. Douglas is 215 miles from where we live. She was on her way to the port of entry. They shut down every port into the United States yesterday for my daughter. My daughter. My daughter. She'd been talking to a boy on Instagram. She thought this boy was real. In the middle of the night, she decided to take an Uber that this boy sent to her house, her grandmother's house. Take that Uber 4 hours to Douglas, Arizona, to the port of entry of Mexico. My daughter, my 15-year-old daughter. They dropped her off at the port of entry, and the Border Patrol did their job and took my daughter into custody. The car that dropped her off was found almost 200 miles in the opposite direction, abandoned on the side of the I-10 outside of Casa Grande. The person that was at the border waiting for my daughter, that actually went up to Border Patrol agents and specifically asked for my daughter by name, was waiting for my daughter in a black pickup truck with 3 other men. That truck is flagged for cartel involvement. My daughter was catfished and tricked by the cartel. 18 minutes they tracked her phone. 18 minutes. And I would have lost my daughter to Mexico for good. AI is how they're trapping these kids now. They will now use my daughter's images to trap another kid. This is the vicious cycle, and please, you guys, watch your kids. Yesterday was a nightmare, and I'm still living it.
Wow. That is something that you don't really think about in regards to all this AI stuff. You don't really think about these traffickers using AI to convince your children that they've made some new friend on the internet. But I just come across this and I just felt obligated to spread the message. I've got 4 kids myself and I can't imagine something like this happening. I can say from personal experience though, and I'm not going to go into detail on this, but obviously your kids can be tricked by strangers online. There are some sick people out there and they will use any tactic available to them to get access to your children. And kids are just too innocent and trusting to notice all the red flags when a stranger that they're just now meeting on some chat room is suddenly interested in all the same things they're interested in. Everybody, please be careful and watch your kids diligently. Hey, don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you haven't already. I try to post every day, Monday through Friday.
You have to see this. Morgan Freeman interviews this rabbi on what they are expecting with their coming Messiah. And this guy describes who the Bible describes as the Antichrist. Look at this.
Orthodox Jews believe that without this temple, their religious rites are incomplete. So they await the day when that temple is rebuilt.
So they're talking about here how they believe that the temple, the third temple, will be rebuilt. Okay, Jews believe that. Many Christians believe that. Let's keep watching.
Is there a Messiah in Judaism? In Judaism, Jews invented the Messiah. But it's not the same Messiah that most people think about. Okay, because when Christians think of the Messiah, they think of someone who's divine. Yeah. What we have for the Messiah is a man, a king of this earth, who's going to bring peace among the nations in this world. Urine tells me this mortal Messiah has a very specific to-do list.
According to Jewish tradition, he has three things he's supposed to do. Number one, he's going to reconstitute the Jewish kingdom or the Jewish state. Number two, he's going to bring peace with the neighbors. And number three, he's going to rebuild that temple.
So you heard it right there. The Jewish people are expecting that their messianic figure is going to be a man, a king. They believe that he's going to bring world peace. They believe that he's going to bring a government. And they believe that he is going to rebuild the temple, the third temple. Why is that significant? Because these are the exact same things that the Antichrist is promising to do. The Antichrist will come onto the scene with promises of bringing this utopian government. He's going to come onto the scene as a political kingly leader. And he's going to have something to do with the establishment of a temple. The Antichrist, my friends, is going to claim to be the long-awaited messianic figure of the Jewish people. Wow. And everything that they're expecting their Messiah to do, the Antichrist is going to come and basically fulfill. Now, the Antichrist, if he tries to establish a third temple, it's not going to be the true temple of God, because we as the body of Christ are the temple of God. The true Messiah did establish a temple. You see, every messianic figure must establish a temple. That's why Jesus said that his temple, his house, will be in his people. Okay? And nothing will come against it. And so Jesus established a temple, not a physical one, but a spiritual one within our body. Jesus, the true Messiah, established that. And when the false Messiah comes, it is likely that he will also try to establish some type of brick and mortar temple. It won't be the true temple of God, but it's something that will be a deception to the world, to cause them to believe that he is the true Messiah. So you can clearly see now how this Antichrist figure is going to so easily try to convince the world that he is the long-awaited Jewish Messiah. I mean, everything that they are expecting, this guy is going to come and basically do.
Until I actually see this unfolding, I'm gonna have to say, I still feel like we're living in Satan's little season right now. I don't think there's any Antichrist coming to worry about. I just don't see how that's not our current progression through the timeline. But it certainly doesn't look like they've even thumbed through the New Testament if this is their game plan. I know that the Jews don't believe in the New Testament, but you would think that at the very least they would have someone read through and tell them what's in Revelations and how everything they're doing seems to line up with all of the end time prophecies and warnings about the last days. And I wish that I could go into greater detail about what I really think is going on here, but you aren't allowed to say certain things on this platform without losing your entire channel. I may have to make an explainer video going over all the things that I've uncovered surrounding this topic and just post a one-off video to Rumble or something. I have quite a bit to say about it. I'm just not trying to get my whole operation shuttered.
Beijing's digital blacklist just exploded, and over 400,000 people are suddenly locked out of normal life. Right now, across China, citizens are waking up to a nightmare. They can't travel, shop, or even rent a place to sleep. Their bank apps stop working, train tickets get denied, and not because they committed a crime, but because the government says they're untrustworthy, and that one word is all it takes to vanish in plain sight. What exactly does it take to land on China's blacklist in 2025? How does Beijing control your spending, your movement, even your relationships without ever setting foot in a courtroom? And could this system become a model for the rest of the world? To understand how China turned a secret list into a nationwide shutdown, we need to start with what just happened this week. The shutdown. It starts quietly, no announcements, no headlines, no warnings. On Monday morning, July 21st, 2025, the Supreme People's Court of China silently updates its central enforcement database. Buried deep inside is a growing registry known as the List of Dishonest Persons Subject to Enforcement, or more ominously, the blacklist. By Friday, that list doesn't just grow, it explodes. Over 400,000 active names are now on it, the largest jump in recorded history. But this isn't just a spreadsheet or a court filing. It's a digital execution order, one that blocks your ability to live a normal life. If your name is on that list, you're banned from purchasing plane tickets, high-speed rail, luxury hotels, and even basic rentals. In many cases, you can't apply for loans, swipe a bank card, or use Alipay and WeChat Pay. Some are even banned from dating apps, flagged as morally discredited. What used to be warnings or rumors are now official, system-enforced lockouts. No one is untouchable. And the most disturbing part? You don't even know you're on it until your life stops moving. There's no knock at the door, no court date, no hearing. 1 minute you're buying coffee, the next, your payment fails. That's exactly what happened to Li Wen, a 28-year-old sales manager in Beijing. She tries to split a dinner bill with friends, but when the QR code scans, WeChat Pay flashes an error. Transaction blocked, restricted user. Her bank app won't load. Her train ticket gets declined. In less than 24 hours, she's digitally paralyzed, and she has no idea why. She's not alone. Across Beijing, a university student misses a tuition payment by 10 days. When he tries to book a Didi ride to class, the app says he's ineligible. An online merchant in Shenzhen disputes a fine from a local court and suddenly loses access to customer payouts. In Shanghai, a middle-aged man finds out he can't board a train to visit his sick mother because his social credit score dropped overnight. None of them received formal charges, none of them were arrested, but all of them are blocked from movement, frozen by code. And it's not just a fluke. Over 100,000 names have been added to the blacklist in the last 7 days alone. That's not enforcement. That's a purge. The system isn't creeping, it's surging. The digital grip is no longer quiet or subtle. It's choking and it's tightening in real time. But the scariest part isn't how many people are banned. It's how easy it is to end up on that list.
Whoa. That is terrifying. It's actually happening. I guess I just always naively assumed that they would wait until every country had these systems of control in place and then they would all flip the switch at the same time. It looks like the CCP just couldn't wait for these other countries to get their citizens under their thumb. And this is China we're talking about. They treat their citizens like they're an open-air science experiment. This is just going to keep getting worse and worse. I bet we're about to see the population numbers in China plummet. Before long, they'll probably start blocking people's access to grocery stores and everything, which they might as well be doing already if you can't even access your own bank account. This right here is exactly why we need to be fighting against this central bank digital currency nonsense and holding on to our cash. I just don't see how we stop it at this point. It feels honestly like we're already past the point of no return.
Remember how last year you were talking about how you found on Walmart all those children's toys and shoes and everything else for $5,000 and $7,000? I found it on the TikTok shop.
They keep silencing my videos so you can't hear me.
Oh, it happened live.
We should show that.
They don't want you to hear it. Now watch what happens when I try to play my video. They don't want you to play it. Because I'm going to try it one more time.
So, back on this Heaven's Child that has no picture, no background, nothing, only selling 2 t-shirts for $7,600. 157 people have put this in their carts. Why do you have this in your carts? But they have this one in their carts and nobody's doing this one. Maybe the t-shirts look like this are $7,600. Similar products right in the TikTok shop, $1, $14, $11, $4, $5. Let's message the shop. What size products do you have? And they were telling me. As soon as I said, why is your product so expensive? I'm sorry, I don't know how to answer that. But I'm always learning. I'll connect you with a human agent right away, right? Then I get this lovely little message, hang tight, we're connecting you. Never got connected. But if you look right up here, typically responds within an hour. Something is going on.
I'm going to try one more time to play mine. No, it definitely won't let me play mine.
I think we all know exactly what this is. We keep seeing these suspicious listings on pretty much every digital marketplace on the internet. Then someone exposes it and it eventually gets shut down. And not because the platforms themselves are shutting these sellers down, but I'm assuming it's because the sellers start panicking and thinking they're about to be exposed whenever these stories like this go viral. There were those Wayfair listings a few years ago that were showing pieces of furniture that should have been $300 or $400, but they were going for like 10 grand, and they all had children's names, and the details for the descriptions of the products all had like ethnicity and stuff in them. Once that went viral, all those listings disappeared. It's obvious what this is. I just don't see why no one ever investigates this stuff. I mean, I know why, but it just doesn't make sense to me that we don't have at least one person at the top who thinks that looking into these things is a worthy effort. I have a feeling this is just going to get worse, though. Just look how many customers they seem to have.
In 2006, Charlene de Herrera was caught in a flash flood. She was stuck inside her car, and everyone was trying to get her out. The thing is, all the windows were shut, and there was absolutely no way for her to get out until this unbelievable glitch happened. Check this out. It was all caught on camera. Check this out.
In sickeningly slow motion, with all 4 car windows shut tighter than a drum, Charlene and her car slipped into water about 10 feet deep and sank. The first to reach her was a doctor, but try as he did, that stick he had was no match for the safety glass.
I was pounding away, and she had her hands against the glass, and she was terrified.
And then, Charlene was gone. Almost a full minute went by, but unbeknown to everyone was that Howard Absetz, a 43-year-old unemployed store manager, the man in the middle, had somehow reached through Charlene's front window.
For me to actually feel her grasp my arm was a real shock. And then the second time that she grasped my arm, I knew right then that I could get her out.
And then, up she came. Everyone eventually dragged Charlene to safety. But here's the odd part. When Charlene's car was towed from the water, all 4 windows were still closed.
I sure don't have a way to explain this one. I had to add it, though. It's getting more and more rare to see something that's literally unexplainable. Do any of y'all have any ideas on this? All I can really think of is divine intervention. This just isn't physically possible. And if it weren't for this being filmed and put in a news report, I probably wouldn't even believe it. And I'm not saying that the news is a trustworthy source for information, but it's not common for them to post fake paranormal content on the news.
Well, the bad news is we only have 2 more weeks before the mothership arrives.
We only got 2 weeks left, so we went from this getting here in November to now we have 2 weeks left. If you're lost as I'm talking about the 12-mile-long mothership.
The new draft report on UFOs, the Pentagon's expert warning about a possible mothership coming close to Earth.
If this thing is indeed extraterrestrial, having even 10 more minutes of heads up on what's going on out there, that would be crucial information.
We also get interesting data already from the Hubble Space Telescope and today, presumably also from the Webb Telescope. Hubble images of 3I Atlas are quite puzzling because you see a glow in front of the object instead of trailing it the way that comets usually look like.
Have there been any theories of what could possibly be that glow that would be in front of the object?
Well, one possibility is that the front of the object as it moves towards the sun is hotter. That's the day side of this object, and as a result of that, it evaporates. And but the problem is we see this glow in front, but we don't see any evidence for molecules that usually characterize cometary plumes around the comet.
Well, it looks like they've moved the timeline up again. Regardless of whether you think this is a glowing space rock emitting CO2 or the launch of the fake alien invasion, at least it looks like we won't have that much longer to wait in order to get our answer. I'm just wondering how they've justified moving this timeline up so fast. They told us that it was moving at near the speed of light. So based on that speed and its distance away, they estimated it would get here at some point in November. Now they're saying that it's going to be here in 2 weeks. Did it speed up? It's starting to feel like they've got about as much information on this thing as I do, and all I can do is sit here and guess. I can't help but to ask, do these people ever make an accurate prediction on anything? This is a prime example of why I question everything they tell us about space.
So in this video, he makes the very smart conclusion that these buildings and coins all have J, and that they removed it to add 1,000 years and made it a 1. But what if I told you that that J actually represented Jesus and his 1,000-year reign? Just how it says Anno, just like we know we go by BC and AD. What does AD mean? Anno Domini. This is very clearly about Jesus. And why are they telling us it's a 1 instead of a J? Because this was Jesus 736 years into the 1,000 years of Jesus. So 736 years into the 1,000 years of Jesus. That's what it obviously meant. And before anybody goes, how does that even work? Jesus comes back. I thought the world would end. When Jesus comes back, he rules 1,000 years. And we believe he came in 70 AD. Right here in 70 AD, when the second temple fell 3.5 years into the 7-year Roman war, just like Daniel 9:27 prophesied. Then we have these crazy historical events that nobody teaches us in school, or we just skip over and have no reasoning to why. 536, the sun goes out for 12 months. Instead of that being in 536 AD, that was actually in 70 AD. They just pushed it to 536 AD to add 700 years to the timeline. Same thing with Pompeii. It was not 79 AD, it was 70 AD. And same thing with the 1561 event in Germany, with there was aliens in the sky. That was 70 AD with Jesus and his angels fighting the devil and his angels, and that's why they got thrown down. So essentially, you have Rome as the last empire, and we have buildings like this that are very clearly, this is a Roman building, this is Roman architecture, but this is in the middle of the Middle East in the desert, and supposedly thousands of years old. Or is it that it was a Roman building and it got melted by fervent heat, just like the Bible says will happen when Jesus comes back, right? Mainstream media tells us that Rome fell through the 1st, 3rd, and 7th century, and that Vikings and barbarics supposedly buried Rome and the whole world under 40 or greater feet of dirt. But what if that was Jesus? Because we clearly see that Rome was buried, and the next architecture to come out of nowhere was Gothic cathedrals and normal cathedrals, and they're all based to Jesus, and they're all based off glorified saints. Like they're all named after saints who supposedly built them in glorified bodies. So could it simply be that Muhammad from the 7th century is actually the 1st century and he was the false prophet? Could it be that Nero, who is 666 in Hebrew, Latin, Aramaic, and Greek, he's the 666 Antichrist we're all looking for? Rome is the beast. And is it possible that we're in the devil's time of deception now, and that the Statue of Liberty isn't a statue of our liberty, but it's the liberty of the devil, him being bounded for 1,000 years and then released because the Statue of Liberty has a broken chain at the bottom of his feet. So what do you guys think? Please tell me, Tartaria people, how does this Tartaria thing make sense? How is Tartaria a worldwide civilization when we only see it in Asia on all maps? Tartaria is a psyop. And before people say Tartaria was real, I know it was real, but it was a small group of people during 1,000 years of Jesus. They're not responsible for all these buildings.
Here's the one thing that I don't get, and if you watch this channel at all, you know where I stand on this theory. But if they really wanted to use the Tartaria story as a psyop, why would they not just tell us that there was a great Tartarian empire? Why not just tell us that there was an advanced civilization, but then give us misdirection on who they were? That would probably be a better way to cover up the story, is to admit that they existed and just lie and tell us that they got stomped out by other countries or something. Lies do seem to be a little bit more believable when you sprinkle a little bit of truth in them. But the only explanation I can think of for that is, if they admitted that this great kingdom existed at all, they would have to have historical records of it somewhere, and people would eventually start digging and piecing things together. I'm starting to think the Tartarian Empire is a psyop in the sense that they want us to think that that's the cover-up, that they're hiding Tartaria from us and not Christ's millennial reign. But what do y'all think? How do y'all think the Tartaria story ties in with the millennial reign? That's the one thing I still feel like I'm trying to make sense of. But guys and gals, I'm going to go ahead and end the video right there. I hope you enjoyed these clips we watched together today. I'll be back on Monday with another video. I hope you come back to join me. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. But I hope everyone has a great, safe, fantastic rest of your day, a phenomenal weekend, and I will see you all on Monday.